On this episode of the Nerdiest podcast, we're going to be revisiting a bit of an old topic in the downfall of Disney. We're going to take a look at what's been happening with the company in the past couple of years and try to truly figure out if the company is on decline or if this is just a rough patch. You're not going to want to miss it, so stick around. Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, the show where nerds talk about nerdy things. I'm your host with the most, who's always sleep deprived, Mr. Nick Barrett, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, my ride or die, Mr. Jackson Glass. And today, as the teaser suggested, we are going to be revisiting a topic we've already done, and that is the downfall of Disney. This is an episode we did a couple years back. I actually went back and just listened to the episode recently. It was pretty solid. It was pretty good. We could have improved in some places. But you know what? It was still pretty solid. So we're going to be talking about that today, kind of looking at the company as a whole, including media, which is like Star Wars, Disney, animation, Pixar, Marvel, and then also talking about the parks. I think that's something that's a big thing that has now been included in, I guess, the last year, really. So we're going to be talking about all that and then asking the question, is Disney on a downfall and a downward spiral, or is this just like a rough patch? So that's what we're going to be diving into today. But before all of that, Jackson, how have you been?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. But also, guys, please understand, slight pre-record on this episode. We're just about a week earlier than we normally record. So if something like crazy important happened and you wonder why we're not talking about it, that's why. Just keep in mind.
The next episode will also suffer from this problem as we have already recorded it.
It's okay. Don't worry about it, guys. We're going to be okay. But as far as I'm good. I'm very ready for fall.
Me too.
I'm done.
Man. It's too hot.
I'm done with summer. Sorry. You know what? You know when there's something going on in the song you're listening to that sounds like someone being murdered behind you, and you're just I genuinely there was something in this song that was someone laughing, and I genuinely sounded like someone was in my living room. Terrified me for a second. Anyway, so I'm ready for fall, ready for spooky season. I'm ready for the weather to cool down. I'd also like to say that K-pop Demon Hunters has ruined my life because every single day I walk down the sidewalk, I go to class, I go to the store, I come home, and I lay my weary head. And that's the only thing that's there. No thoughts. Just K-pop Demon Hunters. No thoughts. Just nope. No thoughts. Just I know what I think of every time I drink up. Nope. No thoughts. Just what do I feel like even if no thoughts. Just K-pop Demon Hunters, guys. I'd also like to say I'm an evangelist, and I like to just be like, guys, I've been putting so many people on K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm like, you have to watch it. It's genuinely so good. So that's about it. I've just been at work, been at school all week, going back to school, and so nothing crazy to report. Just that every time you suggest a movie to me and I really like it, it ruins my life. So
yep, you're welcome.
Yeah. Anyway, continue. How was
Glad
your
to be
week?
of service to you. My week was pretty good. I again spent most of it editing, doing a lot of shorts. I think little behind the curtain here, behind the scenes. When I'm editing an episode, I'll mark certain parts of the audio so that I remember to go back, because I'm like, oh, that would make a really good short, that would make a really good reel, that would make a really good long form clip, just kind of trying to figure out what all that looks like. And what I ended up doing between the hot takes episode and the K-pop episode, I think I still have 9 available clips
Jeez.
to cut and edit, which some of them, not all of them, always make the cut, because some of them, like, it sounds really good, but then when I'm piecing it together, it doesn't work. So I still have a ton to go through. On top of, I also need to finish my top 10 anime YouTube short series.
Yep.
I literally just got a comment this morning. Someone commented on the most recent one, which is number 5.
Yeah.
And they were like, "When's the next one? It's been 3 months." And I'm like, "Oh,
Uh-oh.
you know what? It has been 3 months."
If it
You're
makes
so
you feel
right.
any better, I did a short series on my YouTube channel that was like top 10 Pixar movies. And I'm pretty sure I've been leaving them hanging on number 2 for like maybe 4 months. So
you
like,
need to finish it. I do too. It's
what's so funny is I have the videos on my desktop. Like it's
me
done.
too.
I just
Literally,
need to like
all of them are
upload it.
I just need to
I just
like
need to upload it.
edit them. Like they're all
Yep.
recorded because I scripted all
Yep.
of them at once and then I recorded all of them at once because shorts are so easy to
They're
film.
so
Dude, they're
easy,
stupid
dude.
easy to film. It's because
It's like a life. It's like a life hack. It feels unethical. You're like, this is too easy.
It does. You're like, should I be allowed to do 20 shorts at once? Is that something?
He's too dangerous
okay.
to be kept alive.
So I just need to edit them, which I will. I'm getting to it. I'm trying to clear out my editing backlog, but now
Yeah.
because we've had to pre-record, I have 2 podcast episodes that have been thrown onto that list, and those episodes are going to have their own shorts and long form clips and like a full episode to edit. So I'm
Yep.
like, dang, my editing
Yep.
pipeline's kind of
Shoot.
packed. So like,
Yeah.
once we're done here today, most of my day will be spent editing shorts just to get caught up and clear out the
Yeah.
queue before I start these next 2 episodes.
No, yeah.
Um,
That I also have like a script finishing a script while also starting like a longer form project script that's like I'm brainstorming right now. And then I'm also editing a short film that I haven't finished, and then also have some shorts, and then it's just like, well, you know what? We ball. It's gonna get there.
You want to know how many scripts I currently have actively in progress?
Oh gosh.
3.
How many? 3.
3.
Yeah.
How many prospectively I want to have done by the end of the year? As I'm looking here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if I stick on a bi-weekly schedule, that's more videos than weeks I have left in the year. So,
Yeah, no, that checks out, you know?
we'll see how that all shakes out.
We're gonna be okay.
We're gonna be okay. It's fine.
We're gonna be okay, guys. There's not
It'll
a
be
lack
good.
of content. And
No.
if you're not following us on YouTube at the Nerdiest Podcast or at our personal YouTube channels where we're constantly putting out content, please, links are in the description at the Nerdiest Podcast or on Instagram at the Nerdiest Podcast. And also, guys, don't forget, we have a merch store. So if you're a big fan of what we do here, the best way you can support us right now is to subscribe on YouTube and get a little merch. We have shirts and hats and stickers and everything you'd ever need. And today, we are digging deep into the downfall of Disney. What was once a company that we thought could not be destroyed, could not be taken down. We thought, who will rise to the occasion? Who will take down Disney? Who
Not
would
Disney.
have thought that the only person that could take down Disney is Disney?
It's a little self-burn there. Those are rare.
Dude.
Okay.
So please, let me hear what you have to say about the downfall of Disney.
So, I'm going to break this up, all right?
Yeah.
I have my notes. I have 3.5 pages worth of notes.
This is a lot of notes.
As well as some expanded points from the internet's most reliable resource, ChatGPT.
Whoa.
Don't worry, guys. I did fact check all of it.
We fact checked all of them.
I promise I did.
He scrubbed through government websites.
I spent
Like-
an hour and a half last night putting these notes together. I
He
did
showed
my
me.
research. It's
showed me.
okay.
He scrubbed through government websites for
I
this
did.
episode. So
Actually, I did open a government document for the state of Florida for some stuff that we'll get to in a little bit,
Yeah.
which I didn't even know was there. So here's what we're gonna do. I have everything earmarked, and I have it broken up between 2
Yep.
major sections. One being media, which is movies, streaming, etc., and then also parks, because I feel like parks is its own topic in and of itself.
yeah.
So we're going to start with media because we're a movie,
Yes.
TV show podcast, that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
here we go. In terms of media, we have no media.
We have no media.
And I also want to give this distinction. On the last time we did this, for those who haven't watched it, you should go watch it. It was an incredible episode. It was really good. We talked a lot about the media side and how we were getting into Marvel fatigue and Star Wars wasn't really in a good spot. Pixar wasn't really in a good spot. Strange World put Disney Animation in a tight spot. Disney Plus was in a weird spot. And I think in doing this research, I was coming into it expecting to just see a continuation of that.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, the downfall is continuing because they're not making money.
Yeah.
And what I found is that's not the case. The downfall we're looking at here is very different, and I think breeds a completely different kind of discussion, which I think is going to be really interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spit some facts at you.
Let me hear.
And then we can go back and discuss as we go.
Specifics.
So,
Let me hear.
and I'm just picking up where we left off in the last episode. I'm not going to bother rehashing anything we've already talked about. If you want to hear us talk about it, go listen to that episode. It was really good. So, from mid-2023 to the current day, Star Wars has gotten one significant thing, and that is the Acolyte. That is the only thing really worth talking about. Obviously, there was Andor and Skeleton Crew and some other stuff, but I think the one that was really of note, because like everyone expected Andor to be good,
Right.
everyone was like Skeleton Crew was good, okay, and then there was like this Young Jedi show, and still no movies since 2019 with The Rise of Skywalker, which I think is crazy work, by the way. You have this multi-billion-dollar whatever. So there's that, and I think the interesting thing about the Acolyte is that according to all the statistics, it started really strong and then faded really quick because of that negative word of mouth, which is a key thing that will continue to come back up later. Let me see if I can find... All my notes are so like scattered everywhere. So in terms of the Acolyte, right? It got 4.8 million views in its first day, which is the biggest series launch on Disney Plus. And the first two episodes totaled 488 million minutes watched. So despite it being the biggest series launch for Disney Plus, it is still significantly under any other Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Like Ahsoka had 829. So it's half that.
Yeah.
And then it continued to drop. And I think another thing was the audience score was really low, and it stayed really low pretty much the whole time because the Star Wars fans were just not having it. Like, it was not... I remember seeing all the new episodes come out, and I was just watching the reaction on Twitter and seeing all these clips, and I'm like, yeah, that's not it, bro. You missed the mark. Another thing worth noting is the production budget ballooned to $230 million, which is about $28 million per episode, and is significantly higher than any other Star Wars show they've done. So it was an expensive show, and they canceled it because they canceled it after one season, and you know, the usual suspects in the Star Wars fan base were not upset, were not happy about it. They were like, oh, but it's such a good show, and blah 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 blah. And you know, I don't know. It's a whole conversation of like who's the majority in the Star Wars fan base, and I think they have to placate to that. And I think just the majority didn't like it. And you can say, well, it's because she was a woman, and it's because blah. I'm like, maybe it was just a bad show.
It was just bad.
Like, maybe let's consider that.
I'd also like to give a little bit of context that The Acolyte on Rotten Tomatoes has a 19 as an audience score. Like, out of 100.
That's low.
Like, not even 2 out of 10. So, keep in mind. But the critic score was like 79.
Of course it was.
So
we all know they get paid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
that's rough.
As we bring that up, we kind of move into Marvel. Marvel is in a rough spot, all right?
Yeah.
So I think Marvel fatigue has really only gotten worse. Even though Kevin Feige came out and was like, hey, we are not going to continue. We are going to go back. We've really been
Yep.
doing like quality or quantity over quality. And I really just think, we're going to go back and it's going to be fine. And I
Yeah.
think they did that for like a day and then proceeded to go back to not doing that. I'm trying to think of like anything of note that came out like that would be worth mentioning as like a catastrophic flop. They've had like kind of ups and downs here. Deadpool and Wolverine was good. The Marvels I think did okay.
A lot of people I think the biggest thing is the Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four was the two things that came out this year, and everyone was kind of like, okay, this is not bad. Like we're actually getting somewhere with Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. I think where more of the Marvel concern comes is later when we hear more about like Avengers Doomsday, and we're like, oh no, this is going to be very bad.
Have you heard about that? Where like none of the actors are filming together. Yep. They're all like green screen. What was the thing that this guy Alan Cumming says he doesn't know who he was acting with half the time when filming Avengers Doomsday. I did the entire film in isolation, lots of green screen, face replacement, fake names. I don't know who I was acting with half the time. That's a terrible way to make a movie.
That's a terrible way to make a movie.
And I know they're doing it because like, oh, we don't want anything to leak. It needs to be secret so everyone's surprised. But like, you should be able to keep your cast in check.
Right.
Enough to just be like, hey guys, don't say anything.
Don't say
obviously.
anything.
Like they were able to do this with
NDA.
Infinity War and Endgame.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I think they're just scared. But essentially the Thunderbolts. Now here's what's funny about the Thunderbolts. Is the whole thing about the Thunderbolts was Thunderbolts asterisks, right? And the asterisks changed into New Avengers, right? And it was like, oh, because we were all like, what's the new Avenger? What does that look like? How do we have an Avengers movie? So the Thunderbolts, the whole thing was they were like, we're flipping the Thunderbolts into the new Avengers. The problem is they revealed that like 2 days after it hit theaters.
Yeah.
So it was like no one got to actually see the movie before they like flipped it. And we're like, yeah, New Avengers. So that was completely spoiled for me. And I was like, oh.
Right.
So this is what we're doing. But Fantastic Four got about a 91 audience score, and Thunderbolts got about a 93 audience score.
Wow.
So they had that going for them. Deadpool and Wolverine I thought was actually pretty good. Hit about a 94 audience score. So they're on the uptick, but we still don't trust them, is essentially where we're at.
They're on the uptick, but Avengers Doomsday sounds worse with every news article that comes out. And like how they have to do extensive reshoots because they separated everyone. I'm like, there's no way this movie is going to piece together well. Like, this is just an interest, like a commentary on the state of film too, is do you ever look at like the budgets of these movies and you're like, can you imagine having, $200-300 million and making a green screen movie with it? Yeah, like make a real movie with that kind of money. Like as I was doing my research last night, I wanted to look into this because I was talking to my girlfriend about like how expensive Marvel movies are getting, and we fact checked the budget for Five Nights at Freddy's. The first one was $20 million. That movie made almost $300 million. Yeah, that's roughly $280 million profit.
Right.
Like
roughly
maybe 260 if you want to say they double the production budget to do marketing and stuff. Yeah. Like, but still, that's an insane profit margin. And you look at these Marvel movies and like the Marvel movies have to cross almost like $900 to $1 billion just to be profitable. And like, that's not super sustainable. And the great thing about FNAF was they shot all of that practically. They made those animatronics real. Like, there was minimal CGI and green screen in that movie. And that's why it works. So I think all the Marvel and even Star Wars, like a lot of people with the Acolyte saw how inflated the budget was and said, where's all that money going?
Where? Yeah.
Like, and what do you need all this money for?
This is the hill I will die on, is that you could make a better movie with a great 10 out of 10 script shot on your iPhone. Will be 1,000,000 times more compelling than any budget you could ever get. Die on that hill.
Yeah, because it's not about the money. It's about like making a good movie.
Right.
So that was really all I had for Marvel. Moving into Pixar and Disney Animation, and then kind of miscellaneous from there. We've got 3 big movies from Pixar, and then 2 big movies from Disney Animation. Now,
Rough. This is
Pixar
rough.
has actually been doing kind of okay. Elemental started off slow, but ended its theater run with about $495 million and got a bit of an uptick on Disney Plus after the fact.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that movie, like, it started off really slow.
Yeah.
And then, like, just swung up out of nowhere. And that was good. That was a win for them.
We're like, okay, cool.
And then after that, we got Inside Out 2, which made $1.6 billion at the box office and is now the highest grossing animated movie of all time, dethroning that fraud, The Lion King.
What's interesting is it's actually not.
It's not anymore. It's
but
that
at
Chinese
the time
movie,
when it was
isn't
released,
it now?
yes. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it because I'm just gonna butcher it. It's like Niza 2. Well, you know what's crazy? Inside Out 2 made pretty much 1.7 billion. Right? That's crazy. Like 1.698. Niza 2 made $2.2 billion.
How?
And where is K-pop Demon Hunters on this list? That's all that I am saying.
I really want to know how a movie makes that much money.
I mean, I think we're underestimating how large of the film market is in China. Like, just, you know, how much of that, like, Inside Out 2 money do you think was from China?
Right. No, that's a good point.
Like... yeah, so Inside Out 2, 1.6 billion with a B.
And then
that's
we
crazy.
go from Inside Out 2 to Elio.
Let's go.
Which might be the studio's worst flop ever, if not in a long time.
1-2 punch.
There's a lot of things wrong with Elio. There's a lot of things that went wrong. You could talk about which I guess we can just get into it briefly. So the budget was north of $200 million there was a really interesting interview that came out right after the movie came out that talked about a lot of like the production nightmare that this movie was.
Yeah.
And some of that is the budget was north of $200 million. The first cut of the film had a test screening where audiences were asked how many of them would see it in a theater, and not a single person raised their hand. And then Elio himself was supposed to be a queer-coded character, and then that all got cut out, I guess, because Disney what's so interesting is what I read from this interview or this article that came out was it wasn't Disney who asked them to do it, because that was something similar that happened with Inside Out 2. There was supposed to be something with Riley where that kind of stuff got brought in, and they took it out at the behest of Disney executives saying, hey, hold on. Yeah. This is not the climate to release this kind of stuff. You need to pull it back. Yeah. And they did, and, you know, it went on to make all this money.
Right.
But I think why that worked for Inside Out 2 is, if I'm remembering correctly, that content that got removed from Inside Out 2 was a subplot. It was a side piece that could have been taken out and changed nothing about the plot. Whereas with Elio, when they removed all of that, it was so baked into the movie that you've essentially removed the spine of this movie, and now it has nothing.
Right.
And what's interesting is it was Pixar executives who asked them to remove that before it even got to the Disney executives who would look at it and say remove it, because Pixar knew that was going to come back and be like, hey, you need to take that out.
Yeah.
So a Pixar staffer said that the Elio that's in theaters is far worse than the best version of the original, which there's something to say for the creative integrity of that. And I think, as much as like I wouldn't like that content, nor do I think that kind of content belongs in a movie for kids.
Right.
From a creative writing standpoint, I can see why this movie didn't turn out very well when you remove the spine and the foundation of this movie,
Right.
it just then does become a huge glop of nothing that like doesn't move the needle in any meaningful way, shape, or form. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that because you've actually seen the movie.
Well, I went and saw it because I was like, you know what? The trailers look terrible, but it's Pixar in the theater, and I can drop $5 on a discount movie night. Genuinely, I'll have to pull up my Letterboxd to confirm. I think it's the worst movie I've seen this year, which is like for Pixar to drop. Yep, it's at the bottom of my watch for the year. For Pixar to drop the worst movie of the year is unheard of. Like that is not in their psyche. And I think kind of going back to what you were saying, like I get so frustrated because we get these interviews and these leaks where people are like, well, this just isn't the best version of the film. Like, you know, this version is just not good. It was chopped to bits in the editing room because the executive said this and there's no creative integrity. And I'm like, okay, so if this isn't the best version of the film, why did no one in the test audience say they wanted to go see it? There is a disconnect happening here, and I think, and we're going to get into this more later, where like Disney and Hollywood as a whole is so just disconnected from common society. Where like we're letting these big Hollywood bigwigs write these movies that are supposed to like, you know, relate to the everyday man, but they live in their little California Hollywood bubble. And they genuinely have no idea what we're thinking, how we're feeling, what we actually like want to see in a film. And there was another really interesting interview with Danny McBride. And if you don't know who Danny McBride is, if you've seen an R-rated comedy with a butthole in it, it's him. Danny McBride, don't like him in pretty much any movie because he's just the worst. But his commentary was so interesting because he lives in South Carolina. He has moved all of his production to South Carolina, and the Hollywood Reporter did this whole article about him where they were like, you know, why aren't you in California or New York or something? And he was like, because everything costs 10 times more. He was like, it was so expensive. We couldn't get rights to film outside. We couldn't do anything. He's like, the laws are so tight. Everyone's so stuck up. He's like, we couldn't get anything done. He was like, I was driving. He said in the article, he's like, I was wasting 2 hours a day in traffic for us to not even be able to shoot on in a real place. Like we had to shoot on a set. And he was like, so why was I paying California prices to drive 2 hours to essentially work in a writer's room? He's like, so that when I could have moved to South Carolina and done the exact same thing for a quarter of the price, shoot on real location with people that actually want to be there. And so I think Elio is such a good example of where the Hollywood bubble is really screwing up film, because they were like, we need this in our film. We need, you know, Elio needs to be this queer-coded character, and, you know, we're doing this. And I do agree, like, the creative integrity is like, you know, I don't think Pixar should have given... They should not have given someone a movie, approved that this is what it was going to be, and then backed up and said, no, we don't need that. That's crappy. Because, like, if you agreed to that, you got to put your money where your mouth is. But that's what's interesting about Pixar and Disney right now, is they don't actually believe that stuff. They don't actually, like, want to push it. They're pushing whatever gets the most money. And so if it's the most money to release a pro-gay movie, they'll do it. Oh, but then that's not making money. But then they hired all these people in that era that was like, oh, Disney's pro-gay, so we're getting pro-gay writers, we're getting pro-this, pro-that, pro-everything. And now they're like, oh, crap, that's not making money. We need to scale it back entirely. But now all of their employees are there for that. And it's so, like, messy, because now they're like, it's kind of like creatively unethical, I feel, to be like, hey, I know I hired you because you believe this, and like I told you that this was what I believed,
but it's actually not.
So can you do something? Can you write something that you're not passionate about and something you don't
can you write
believe.
something completely antithetical to your own beliefs?
Right.
Because that's what we need you to do. Which,
And like, this is a Christian podcast. Like, we are like two Christian men that feel this way. I'm not saying I wish Elio was gay, because I don't think you should put sexual politics in children's movies. Wow, hot take. But like, I just think that's wrong. I think that's weird and gross and wrong. But you can't hire people based on their beliefs and then tell them to write something that's not in their beliefs. Like, what are you expecting to happen?
right, because we'd be upset if it was in the if it was in the inverse, right? Like,
Right.
it's one of those, you can't be mad about it one way and not the other way,
Right.
because even on principle, it's
Yes.
wrong both
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
Even though we don't agree with that, it is
Yeah.
a little scummy, and I think it, like, looking at Disney in the last 2-3 years, right? They made this really hard pivot more towards like the left side of the aisle,
Yeah.
and going with all of this stuff, and that's where you saw a lot of the financial struggles that we talked about in the last episode was pivoting that way, and it was kind of the rough transition into that. And now what they've done is they made their full transition that way, and now they're realizing, well, wait, we actually need to go the other way
Yeah.
because the culture shifted the other way. But the problem is all of Disney is stuck in California, which is the most left liberal place in the entire country. So
Yeah.
they don't have an actual heartbeat on what the normal person wants in their movies. Because they're like,
Yeah.
let me go outside. What does the average Californian want? Probably all of the same things you're already doing. And
Yeah.
it's just an echo chamber. So
Yeah.
you're not actually getting anywhere. And now it's finally starting to hit them of like, hey, wait a minute.
Hold on.
We might be appealing to the wrong audience here.
Right. And you're like,
So-
no, duh.
It's so
Yeah.
interesting that like Elio is the movie that highlights that.
Yeah.
Because to your point, like, they did have to greenlight the script of that movie.
Yes. Yeah.
That got to the test audience.
yeah.
Like,
And they
they
were okay
said
with
that
it.
was okay.
And they were okay with it until it realized it wasn't financially profitable.
Yes. And that's what made it change. So Elio, from a creative, as a creative,
Yes. That's
I can understand the
That's
frustration
crappy.
of like working on this movie for all this time, and you have this idea, and you know the studio completely shuts it down, and I get that, right? Like, I don't agree with the politics of it
Yeah.
all, but from a creative standpoint, I get it, and I can understand that that's
say,
frustrating.
like, as someone that works in like a client world, like when you're working with clients on creative projects, one, the client gets final say. So if you
Yep.
are working for Pixar, you are also signing up for the client's final say. And that usually means 5,000 revisions for what they want, because
Yep.
you're bending to their will, and that's how the studio system works, and it sucks. But this is why we see the rise of indie film. Anyway, also as someone that works in the client world, revisions are so freaking expensive. This is how budgets get inflated. When you have conflicting opinions on something way too late in the process.
Yep.
So like when you greenlight the script, that should be the script. Like that should be it. But when you greenlight the script and you were like, "Hey, we have this pretty much finished product," and then you go back and flip it and say, "Hey, we need you to remove half of this." You don't just do that. That takes a lot of time. It takes more meetings. It takes more people. You're bringing in different editors. You're bringing in new opinions. And those people get either salary or hourly. And you are paying for their time to do that. And that's why this movie costs over $200 million. And then it only made $150, which is just so... How do you casually lose $50 million? I don't like fathom the amount of money that is. Like I buy how many eggs I need for the week based on which one is on sale. Like casually losing $50 million is not in my psyche. Anyway, that is our Elio spiel.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. All right, so moving on. Continuing through. Shifting to Disney animation, there's really only 2 movies worth talking about.
Can we?
Wish. Talk about a movie where the version in theaters was not the best version. Have you seen like all the concept art of how the star was supposed to be like an actual human, and he was supposed to fall in love, and it was supposed to be like this like hero power couple versus the villain power couple. Like, it was going to be such a cool dynamic, and I don't understand why they ditched that in favor of the movie that we got, especially because this was supposed to be their big like 100-year anniversary movie, like rah, we're doing great. And then it kind of just floundered around in theaters for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think it got praised a lot, I think specifically from us. I remember doing our episode on it. Oh, excuse me. It got praised a lot from us for being the least woke movie Disney had made in a long time. And actually like having some semblance of a plot. And it was like, it was okay. Like, it's not gonna ever break like my top 30 Disney movies of all time. But, you know, it was enjoyable, at least watching it the first time. I haven't watched it since, and there was really only like 2 good songs on the soundtrack.
Can I also just say, like, my favorite line from Wish, because I'm like, you fall from grace on the music. Like, this is why we loved K-pop Demon Hunters, because it was like, oh, this is actually good music. My favorite line, just like, my favorite line from this song, this is in the movie. It says, "Ooh, I'm a star. Watch out, world. Here I are." This is a real lyric.
That's just bad writing.
This is just a real lyric from this movie. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, Wish certainly was a movie that did come out
in
2023. Sure was.
Dude,
Yep.
Lin-Manuel just like probably just sobbed when this movie came out. He was like, "What have you done?"
Though, did he?
No, he didn't. He probably should have. Like,
I know there were a lot of reports of them using AI for that too, which are unsubstantiated, by the way.
Yeah.
It was more like people had a feeling based on how it was written that it was AI.
Yeah.
Because that was like the Chat GPT just like was starting to get up there. This wasn't even like the stuff we have now.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. I could see the argument going both ways.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't put it past them because it's Disney, but also like...
But also never estimate Disney.
Yeah, never estimate them at all. Like, just don't estimate at all.
Estimate them. You
So-
cannot fathom how incredibly good or incredibly bad they can be. Like,
Yes.
there is I could never fathom either side.
Yeah,
It's
it's kind of crazy. So,
Oh my
and then
gosh.
the other movie on the flip side
Jeez.
was Moana 2,
Oh,
which I did not know this until last night.
yeah.
Putting these notes together, it made over $1 billion at the box office.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is insane.
You want to know why it made $1 billion at the box office?
Because it was Moana?
Because it was Moana and the only good movie that came out Thanksgiving weekend.
Didn't Wicked come out that same weekend? Like, weren't they in theaters at the same time?
Did it? Yeah, but they're pulling different audiences, though.
That's true.
Like if
Moana was the
families-
only like family movie out for that period of time.
Because if you
And-
think about, like, if I'm a dad and I have a wife and 2 daughters, they probably would want to see Wicked, but if they're a little young, Wicked's like 3 hours long and a little scary. Like, it's a little intense. I'm going for Moana 2 any day of the week.
I also think what helped Moana 2, even though it wasn't like a great movie in terms of quality, I think it was still enjoyable enough for the common audience to get something out of it. And like, we have such a different view of these movies. One, because we're not 7-year-old girls who the initial target audience is for, but also we always come at movies like analytically and look at them a little bit more objectively sometimes. And I think Moana 2, yeah, we looked at it and said, I mean, it was all right.
It's
like,
okay. It's not
could have been
good.
better. You can tell it's like a TV show that's been stitched together into a movie.
Yep.
I think for the common audience, because they're such an important group to take in when talking about all this, is to them, the general review was that it was good, it was clean, it was not woke, and it was the only thing to go watch between like Thanksgiving and January.
Yep.
And I think that's how it got propelled to $1 billion, is that it had a monopoly on the theater market for the people who wanted to go to the theaters and see a movie that wasn't wicked and was generally clean, which means if you can get the clean and the woke off of the movie, right?
Yep. It doesn't matter the quality.
Disney maintains their brand reputation if you can get those two things out of the way.
Yep.
Which is also how Inside Out 2 made $1 billion.
Yep.
Is because it was clear of both of those things.
Yeah.
So then people went and saw it. But still, what was such a key factor there is the word of mouth. Because I remember growing up, you didn't need to watch a trailer. You didn't need to know anything about a Disney movie. You could walk in and it was good.
And
Whereas
it was 10
now,
out of 10.
You have to wait for the word of mouth to see which way it will swing.
Do you remember when Frozen came out?
Dude.
And we never actually got a real trailer?
Yes.
They never even... There is not a real trailer for Frozen. Like, you never saw what the story was. You were just like, I'm in. Let's do it. And then
they showed like the
in.
clip of Olaf when you first meet him, and that was it.
And then you're like, all right, I'm in. $1 billion. I swear.
Now it's
we used
a
to be
multi-billion-dollar franchise.
We used to be a
with
proper country.
merchandising.
I'd like to say my favorite Moana 2 review says, La película bastante sin más, pero la banda sonora es temazo tras temazo. Excepto los raps, por favor Disney para. Which means the movie is pretty much nothing, but the soundtrack is great, except for the raps. Please, Disney, stop.
Disney, stop.
Which I'm like, man, this is hitting every country. Like,
so,
yeah, no, Moana 2. I'd also like to say, if you want to talk about target audience, my younger sister is 13. And we went and my whole family went and saw this movie. And we ended it, and I was like, Mary, what did you think of that? And she said, I wish there was a little more sacrifice. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this core, like, you want to talk about core audience? The core audience is a little smarter than you give them credit for.
Yeah,
like,
no, literally.
They actually want a good story, too. So, write that down.
I need your sister to watch K-pop Demon Hunters and give us a review.
She would love it. She would genuinely love it. My family cut Netflix for a lot of reasons. So.
That's fair. That's fair.
I gotta have them over. Do a family watch party.
On my Netflix account.
On my Netflix account.
So, a couple more things before we jump out of the media section. And I do want to have like a conversation to essentially wrap the media stuff for a bit, and then we'll come back to it a little later.
Yeah.
We got 2 more live action remakes in the last 2 years. Actually, that's not true. We got 3. The Little Mermaid somehow got excluded from the list. Despite me asking ChatGPT for like 2023 to 2025, it just
AI for
forgot about that. So I
AI
had to
for
like
you.
double. I was like fact checking. I was like, I feel like I'm
Wait a
missing
minute.
something. So then I pulled up like Disney's actual list of movies.
Yep.
And I saw Little Mermaid, and I'm like, oh, thanks, man. But that one, I feel like the controversy for that was kind of front loaded. Like, the controversy there had been the controversy since the movie got announced.
Right. And then after that, they were like, eh.
And then everyone kind of moved on and called it a day. They were like, it was all right. Like,
it's not good. It's not the worst.
You know, it's not the worst live action remake I've ever seen. That title goes to the movie we are going to talk about.
Whoa.
And that is the live action Snow White, which made a lot of headlines, was real controversial.
Yeah.
Real,
Oh, gosh.
Yikes.
Essentially made Disney second guess if they were going to keep doing live action remake. Like, genuinely.
That was a PR disaster.
That was
I don't know why they kept giving Rachel Zegler a microphone. Like, they needed to cut her off and be like, no, stop. We're done.
Do you remember when live action Snow White came out? The press tour, the release party was internal people only.
Yeah, I do.
They were like, we can't have anyone else that hasn't
Like,
been fact checked at the door here.
If you have not been vetted and paid, you don't get to come in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's a
so that
train
was
wreck.
rough. It technically was a success because the budget was about $285, I think, and it made about $405 million. So it was profitable, but not as much. And the big story coming out of the live action Snow White, which I think it's really, these two kind of go hand in hand. The big story coming out of Snow White was that they had halted production on all future live action remakes. We're talking Tangled, Moana, Princess and the Frog. Like, they had hard stop on all of them because I don't think Disney has seen a backlash to a live action remake like this before. Like, there was a little like backlash to the Little Mermaid and like who they cast, but that wasn't like as widespread and like
I feel like
out of control as Snow White was.
I would also argue that the Little Mermaid one was like genuinely opinion based. It was like, yeah, you can feel that way if you want, but like at the end of the day, like it really does not matter. Like we don't care. Where the Snow White one, there was not a single person that thought that was a good idea. There was not a single person that was like, "Oh, this looks great." Like we were widespread. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. And then they added like the dwarf controversy, and then the whole like there was so, and then Gal Gadot's like worst performance, which is impressive, but it's just there was just
and what
so
I think
much.
is what's
so much.
interesting is I don't think anyone would have had such an issue with the changes they made to the movie.
Yeah,
if they, instead of trying to remake the Disney Snow White movie, they went back to the Grimm's fairy tale, and like the original, and said, we're going to do a new adaptation of that.
Yeah.
And go back to the original. This is going to be our new interpretation of that. Because then it's not like you're trying to remake this thing that already exists. You're doing a new interpretation. It's like how we have like 1,000 Cinderella movies. They're not all good.
Right.
But they're also not all remaking the Disney Cinderella. They're remaking like the original fairy tale.
Well, you also think about like there's a billion Sherlock Holmes interpretation. Like, and no one's like, why are they remaking the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movie? And it's like they're not. They're not. You know, it's like public domain by this point. So it's like but yeah, no, I agree.
And then all of that great goodwill that was canceling live action remakes was
so close.
Absolutely squandered by the live action Lilo and Stitch, which made $1 billion at the box office and got a sequel announced a month later.
No.
So that undid all of that hard work. And what I think is interesting
hard work
is it made $1 billion, but it also made significant changes to the story and the core message of Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
And I don't think people were okay with that. I think they didn't know that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, they were kind of tricked into giving their money.
Yeah, you were kind of like duped, and then the rug was pulled out from underneath you at the end of the movie. So I've talked about this before. Live action remakes are a graph. And on one side is amount of money made, and the other side is amount of effort put in. Live action Lion King was our last earmark of profitability at $1 billion to amount of effort put in, which was 0. Live action Lilo and Stitch has now kind of shook everything up.
Yeah.
Which, in typical Stitch fashion of
every family
not only
has
can
one.
we put, not only can we make maximum amount of profit, put the minimum amount of effort in, but we can also just randomly change key parts of the story, and that's okay.
And it still makes $1 billion.
And that's a problem.
As long as we don't PR train wreck ourselves, we'll be fine.
Yeah. And as long as this just makes me so nervous for all of their future live action remakes of what is the lesson they learned here?
Yeah.
Was it that they could make a good family movie? Kind of, but maybe not.
Yeah.
I think the lesson they learned is that, well, we no longer which in a roundabout way
Yeah.
has brought them back to making original movies.
Which is so, like, oh my gosh. It's so
They're like,
stupid. This is just
if we change the
genuinely
plot,
stupid.
And we change the story, and we change all this stuff, but we put in it like,
Fascinating.
fascinating. It's
Huh.
almost like people want to see an original thought for once.
What if it was Lilo and Stitch, but instead of Lilo and Stitch, it was two dudes and they were dogs and they were on this is how I'm going to pitch a new original movie to Disney is I'm going to like disguise
What if it was Lilo
like,
and Stitch, but Lilo was actually a dude and Stitch was a girl?
was a girl.
Go
and
with
then
me here.
they fell in love. And then and it's like the Trojan horse. It's like live action remake, but in the inside it's like original story.
That's how you get them. That's how you
get them. Got them.
So that's interesting. And the last thing I want to bring up in this media section is wow, I didn't realize it was going to take so long. Is Disney Plus has been really up and down in the last couple of years, but shockingly enough, combined with Hulu, they now have 183 million subscribers and is reportedly a profitable streaming service.
Which is crazy.
So you know what? I will give Disney props for figuring out some roundabout way, shape, or form to make streaming profitable.
Now,
Because that's been a struggle for a long time.
can I also say that the number one way for a business to become profitable is to buy someone else who is profitable. So this is the Disney method: is you're profitable, I'm not. I'm gonna buy you, and
I'm gonna
now
take
I'm
you.
now I'm profitable.
But I will ruin you in the process.
So I have a theory that like, and TBH, I kind of like that they're merged. I don't really care. I'm like, okay, I had a Hulu subscription. Now let's just put them together. And we are just like slowly watching more streaming services merge. And
We're getting back
knew-
to Netflix slowly and surely. We're getting back to
Yes.
one streaming service. It's coming,
Yes.
dude. I'm telling you.
It's coming. No, we've predicted this for years. Like years. But this is a long-term thing. Like we don't just like merge every year. It's like in 20 years there's going to be two streaming services. Like maybe one. So like, and it's probably all going to be owned by Apple or Amazon, and it's going to be the worst. But
Disney Flix plus H
Disney Flix plus HMax Prime
video.
But honestly, like Hulu being integrated to Disney Plus is weird because I'm like, why is there all this weird stuff on Disney Plus? But then I'm also like, at some point it's like, well, did they really think they were going to just live with exclusively Disney content forever? No, they weren't. So I actually appreciate the move, and I hope that we can continue to get some really good stuff on Disney Plus. So
Yeah, I'll give them props for that. And like honestly speaking, they're starting to get back to stuff like the Star Wars Visions season 3.
yeah,
I really want to watch that, so I'm like, I might steal someone's Disney Plus to watch that. And if they can keep doing that consistently enough, I'll get to a point where I'm like, okay, I could justify paying for Disney Plus again. Like,
yeah,
especially if it's got the Hulu integration, and because Hulu
There's
has
some
a
good
ton of
stuff.
stuff too.
Yeah.
So like, I think they're getting somewhere with that. And it's worth
it's just
noting.
like,
Okay.
yeah, no, I agree.
Because we are almost an hour into this episode and we
Yeah.
don't want to be here all day, I am going to speedrun the park stuff
Yes.
because a lot of my stuff in the parks, I think, can be tied into a bigger conversation that also includes the media, but I need to give it for context. So,
Yes.
Disney parks focusing mainly on Disney World because that seems to be the focus of
Because
everyone's
it's better.
zeitgeist right now. In the last 3 years, we've gotten Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which replaced Splash Mountain. They announced last year that they are going to be closing the Rivers of America, Liberty Square Riverboat, and Tom Sawyer Island to make way for a Cars Land and a Villains Land, which are both expected to open sometime between 2026 and 2030. Now, slight side tangent. I was thinking about this last night, and this really makes me mad.
Okay.
In an irrational way. You're telling me that Epic Universe built an entire theme park with multiple lands in like 3 years?
Yeah.
And it's going to take Disney like 5 to do 2 tiny little lands in an already like preconditioned build.
Don't talk to
You're
me.
taking too long. Get out of here.
Or it better be worth my dang time.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts about that. I think it's a bad move. I think Villains Land you could make an exception for. Cars Land I just don't think belongs in Magic Kingdom at all.
No.
If anything, I think you could put it in Hollywood Studios and let that be your IP park. I just think they're erasing a lot of things that made Magic Kingdom special. And I think and I know like Walt said he never wanted the parks to become a museum, and I get that, but I think there's a certain level of preservation that you should have.
Yeah.
For the things that are there. Like, don't touch Space Mountain, right?
Yeah.
Don't touch the castle. Don't touch Carousel of Progress. Don't touch the People Mover. Like, don't touch Rivers of America. Don't touch Haunted Mansion. Like, there's... Like, Magic Kingdom is the park that really shouldn't change that much. The other 3, you can swap stuff in and out because that's not his park. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but
it's open for interpretation.
Magic Kingdom is the park that is like the magical classic Disney. So,
Right.
like... Does Pixar fit into the magical classic Disney? Because I don't know if it does.
I mean, they always had like the Laugh Floor in Tomorrowland and the Buzz Lightyear. Like, so Pixar's been there, but I think at the very least they put it where it belonged.
Yeah.
And the reason we never got a Cars Land for so long is because it rains every single day in Florida. You know where it doesn't rain? Radiator Springs. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's why it was a California exclusive thing. And like that Cars Land is incredible. If you've never been there, it's so cool. So that's that about that. Moving into Hollywood Studios. Oh, wait, one more thing to mention about Magic Kingdom, and this is what makes me the most upset, is the train is never going to run a full loop around the park again.
Yep.
Because of the Villains Land stuff and how far back they have to extend for that, the train will never run a full loop around the Magic Kingdom again. And I think that in and of itself is a tragedy because Walt Disney was so specific about having trains in the park because he loved trains. So to take that away from the Magic Kingdom, you're killing its identity. Yep. It's gone. Now, all that said, am I still going to go to Disney? Yeah, because my girlfriend's never been there. And like my future kids have never been there. So I will take them. But that doesn't mean I'm not upset. Like,
right.
Am I part of the problem? Maybe
a little bit. But that's the thing, like, that's what's so hard, and we've talked about this before, is it's like when you are a Disney World fan, like we wore our best Disney World merch today for this episode. So like Disney fans are inept to change. Like they're so like, why would you do this? Why would you do that? Where I'm like, yes, I'm so sad that they closed Muppet Vision 3D. Muppet Vision 3D is a classic staple of Hollywood studios, but it is also a relic of a time when 3D was mind-blowing, and it's just not anymore. And I think if you're gonna keep up with innovation, at some point, like, you have to let those things go. Because here's the thing. The Disney World that my kids are going to go to is not the one that I'm going to go to, in the same way that the one that our parents went to is not the one we're going to. So, like, at some point, you have to just let go and understand that the innovation is not always scary. That being said, Magic Kingdom is going to feel like a concrete slab. They removed the river. It's not going to be as pretty anymore unless they blow my mind and Cars Land is just gorgeous. I think that we're going to see, and I almost wonder if the Universal doing new stuff is pushing them to do this. I feel like Disney is becoming, now it's Disney World, it's commercialized.com. Like it's whatever. But I feel like it's becoming so commercialized that where we can't even have grass. It's like, just, why can't we have grass? Why can't we have a river? Like, make me forget, like, transport me. transport me to a place that's not completely man-made, you know? Like, I need some nature.
Yeah, and I think there have been a lot of reports coming out of Magic Kingdom now because they fully drained the river. It's gone.
Yeah, which is so
apparently
sad,
they didn't
dude.
remove any of the fish or wildlife, so
What?
it smells because there's dead
Ew.
fish baking in the Florida heat. It's August. All right, it's hot
That's
outside.
so stupid.
That line queue for Haunted Mansion that runs parallel to the river,
Yeah.
baking hot because there's no
Gross.
like temperature relief, like breeze coming over the water. They've had to
Yeah.
put up walls so that you can't see the construction, so there's no airflow. Like, it's awful.
Yeah.
And I think Universal and Epic Universe pushed them to do this,
Yeah. No, I
but I
agree.
don't think they had to. And there's a reason I say that I'm going to get to in a second.
Yeah.
That makes me really upset that they're doing it this way when they didn't have to. So,
Yeah.
continuing on, as you said, they closed Muppet Vision 3D and the whole Muppets Courtyard to make way for Monsters Inc. Land, which,
Yeah.
again, could have been put literally anywhere else in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Literally anywhere else.
Literally anywhere else.
But then also they announced like a bunch of stuff with the animation courtyard that they're changing. What I think is really funny is they refurbished and redid the Little Mermaid show, and that opened in May, and now it's closing in September to be moved to a different building.
Just,
So I'm like, why did you do all that work?
okay,
Like, that
here's
tells
what's-
me this was a very last
here's
minute,
what's
like, we need to do this
crazy.
right now.
We have to do this, which is crazy because Hollywood Studios has that entire like little Star Wars museum that is so outdated.
Yeah.
No one is ever in there.
That's what
It-
they're replacing.
Yeah.
Is they're
So
getting
I'm
rid
like,
of it.
Yeah, replace that. Put the Monsters Inc. stuff there. Like,
Yeah,
I
why do
don't
we need
know.
like an animation court? I don't know.
I don't
So-
know, dog.
Yeah, and then Rock and Roller Coaster is getting rethemed to include the Muppets, supposedly opening next year because it seems like a pretty light refurb. Which,
Just got to replace some MP3s, you know.
yeah, just change up the music, put a little extra paint on there. You know, it's the same as like the standard, yearly
Which here's
stuff
the thing,
they do.
like Rock and Roller Coaster is definitely one of my favorite rides at Disney. Like that is my favorite ride at Disney because my mom loves Aerosmith and I grew up going there. Like we just love Aerosmith. So that was a really hard thing to hear, but I was also like, one, I love the Muppets. I'm glad they're not just removing them entirely. But two, Aerosmith is retiring.
Yeah.
In 5 years, kids won't know who they are.
Well, my
And so it's
sister
like-
now doesn't even know who Aerosmith is.
Right. And so like someone like me, like I love Aerosmith, grew up on it. But the longevity of the ride is not necessarily there anymore, which sucks.
I
But I
always
think that-
assumed they would change it to like a different artist, though. I never thought it was
Yeah.
gonna like get a Muppets overlay. And there was a
Yeah.
really interesting comment on, I think it was the podcast clip that I pulled where we were talking about it when they first announced this, where this person
Yeah.
was talking about how she was she's disabled, so she can't ride stuff like Rock and Roller Coaster. But
Yeah.
Muppets having a show was a very like accessible thing.
Yeah.
And now they're essentially pulling that out of the accessible category
Yeah.
for people who can't ride a roller coaster but love the Muppets. So it's like it's a weird
Yeah.
thing. And I wouldn't be as upset.
Kinda
Like I'm not
sad.
heartbroken about Rock and Roller Coaster. Like, am I gonna be upset that I don't hear about the Super Stretch and the Aerosmith music playing?
Yeah.
Sure. Like, but fundamentally, I'm like,
It's the same ride.
it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm more upset about them removing Muppet Vision because I know Disney's really bad about preservation, and I know how important that project was to Jim Henson and how that was like the last project he ever worked on
Yeah.
before he died. So like
yeah.
I know their preservation is really bad.
Yeah.
And if they were going to say, well, we're going to put it in another building or we're going to move it, like, and do just a more limited version of it somewhere in the park,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be as upset. I'm more upset about the fact that they're actually getting rid of it entirely.
Removing it entirely.
Because I'm not against the Monsters Inc. land either. At some point, they're going to have to rename Hollywood Studios to Pixar Studios.
Yeah.
You got Monsters Inc. and Toy Story Land. Like, you got to, at some point,
Dude.
bite the
But
bullet
it's
on that
also
one.
it's also not like I'm just gonna say like Toy Story Land is awesome. Like no one's mad about Toy Story Land. Like but also I'm like, hey, Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy never has a wait time. There's usually like 10 people in there total. Like Why can't
Muppets
you put
Courtyard
Muppets
is
over
also
there?
a really weird place to put Monsters Inc. land
Yeah.
because it's right on the entrance to Galaxy's Edge.
It's also kind
Like,
of
why would you
small.
not put it in the animation courtyard where you can bump it up to Toy Story Land?
I'm also like, isn't the Muppet Courtyard kind of small for an
It is,
entirely
but
new
they're
land?
like expanding back. Like they're making more space. They're like cutting off a bunch of parking
weird.
lots for cast
Weird.
members. Rest in peace, the cast members who are gonna have to walk to work.
Dude,
That's tragic.
that's wild.
So,
All right.
last thing here. Animal Kingdom's getting a bunch of new stuff. I actually have no qualms with the Animal Kingdom stuff.
I don't care.
Because Animal Kingdom currently is like, if I had to skip a park, it's gonna be that
It's
one.
Animal Kingdom. So like, give them some new stuff.
They're replacing Dino Land with Encanto and Indiana Jones, and that's supposed to open in 2027. I'm cool with that.
Sure.
Like, I actually have no qualms with that.
Why are
Now,
we spreading out Indiana Jones? I don't know. That's another thing. I don't know.
Here's
I'm scared that the Stunt Show is about to be retired, and that makes me sad.
I need the space. We need the space for something else. Put Monsters Inc. there.
But Monsters
That's a
Inc.,
sacrifice. You know how many useless shows there are in Hollywood studios? You know how much space, like the
Yeah.
American Idol experience. Well, I think that was replaced with the Frozen show.
The Frozen show is good.
But still, there's so much unused, like
Yeah.
poorly managed space in
Yeah.
Hollywood studios. Anyway,
They were not set up for longevity.
now, when I said I had to dig through some government documents, this is
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. Is I think this year actually,
Mm-hmm.
yep, as of June, a long-term blueprint was submitted to the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, which is a lot of words,
Yeah.
dubbed the Comprehensive Plan 2045, which is something that I checked. This is something that the Walt Disney Company has submitted to the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of just text on a page and
Yeah.
a lot of stuff and gobbledygook.
Not a lot. Yeah.
And
A
like
lot of government speak.
blah, 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 blah. Stuff I don't understand, doesn't make sense, whatever. Now, what is in here though, and I didn't know this actually, this is
Yeah.
new information from ChatGPT that I then had to link back to a New York Post article and then went through the government document. So I'm like 4 sources deep on this
Yeah.
one. They have earmarked 400 to 500 acres of land for another massive park and 2 smaller ones, which are probably more water parks. Now, 400 to 500 acres of land is a lot
That's a lot of land.
because Magic Kingdom is only 107 acres, Epcot is 305, Hollywood Studios is 135, and Animal Kingdom is 580. So, even if you cut that in half and put that new one at 250, it's still bigger than 2 of the current 4 parks, which is
Jeez.
crazy. Now,
Yeah.
they also have this. They also have land earmarked for more hotels, commercial spaces, and those underground tunnels, so they can, get to and
get
from
in between.
places. This is cool. It seems like it's one of those things. Like, I think a 5th park has always been on everyone's mind for the past 10 years, as to why didn't we just do that? But I think it's even more frustrating now. And I'll talk about this in context of the stuff they're doing in Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. Is you're destroying all of these old things. And you're telling
Yeah.
us that this is the only place you can put them. We're running out of land. We're running out of space. This is the best, most ideal place to put them. And then are you going to come back to me in 5 years and tell me that you're going to open another park?
Yeah.
When,
Like,
all of this stuff could have been saved and put in a completely new park?
yeah.
And that's
Also,
somehow okay?
What's the new park? What's
right.
the
I
vision?
feel like you're running out of ideas here, dog.
Yeah.
A Villain's Land, a Cars Land, a Monsters Inc. Land.
Who
You
asked for a
could have gotten
Villain's
away
Land?
with that.
Who asked for a Villain's Land?
Well, a
Like,
lot of people, actually. But
Really?
that's neither here nor
Why?
there. Yeah. I think
guess-
conceptually, Villain's
guess-
Land makes the most sense to me in Magic Kingdom if
Yeah,
you
I
put it
agree.
next to Fantasyland like they're going to.
I guess you
I
gotta,
think that works out great.
I guess the emos need something to do.
So that we'll see how that goes. Now, to kind of bring our conversation here
Yeah.
back around,
Wrap
fully
it
back
up.
around, bring it back together. How are
Yeah.
we feeling? The question that I want to ask is, it was on this document here somewhere. and I'm trying to remember where I put it because I have so many
Is
notes
it at
for
the
this
very
episode.
bottom?
It might
very
be.
bottom.
Let me look. But it was worded so well. Where is it?
Are you looking at the very bottom?
Hold on. No, it was in my list of like my essay of ChatGPT notes because it like gave me a ton of stuff, and I'm like, I can't use all of this. So it was essentially like, is Disney? Oh,
Is Disney
I remember
truly
now.
in decline?
Okay. No. That's my final question. What I wanted to discuss is I think the actual downfall here is not one of financial state, because we can see that their movies they got a couple movies making $1 billion. Disney Plus is, financially viable and successful. I think the downfall we're actually looking at here is one where they are essentially erasing their past.
Yeah.
And they are so out of touch with the current consumer and what the current consumer is looking for.
Yeah.
And I think you can see it a lot in the movies, but I think the parks, which is really what sparked me to want to do this episode, was, they're getting rid of the Rivers of America, the riverboat, the train, like all of this old stuff. And you can say, it's for the like modernization,
the innovation,
but is that necessary? Like,
yeah.
Is that a necessary evil that we have to go through, or is this just we're losing touch with the original foundation? And I think that was going to happen at some point.
Yeah,
because we are 100 years out from we are a century out from Walt Disney founding the company.
Yeah.
So I think it was going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
And there's this really interesting article, speaking of being out of touch, that just came out this week, that Disney is pressing Hollywood for original ideas and IP targeted at Gen Z men, which will never not be funny to me, because Disney owns some of the most marketable and profitable male IPs on the planet. Star Wars, Marvel, Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, you're telling me that you own all of this, and you're like, well, we don't know what happened here. And nothing summarizes this up more than talking about the Lego experiment. Have you ever heard about the Lego experiment?
I have heard this. This is super interesting.
So, for those who don't know, Lego did a study when they created Lego Friends, where they discovered that when a boy plays with a toy of a character, he tries to become the character. And when a girl does the same thing, she tries to make the character become her. So if you give a boy a Batman toy, he's going to want to know everything there is to know about Batman. If you give the same Batman toy to a girl, Batman's going to go shopping, bake cookies, and go to prom. And there are definitely exceptions on both sides. Like, that's just an overgeneralization. Right. But if you take that and you apply that to the fact that Disney has put these largely like male-oriented franchises like Star Wars and Indiana Jones under the headship of Kathleen Kennedy, and you take the Lego experiment in mind, it starts to make a lot of sense why these franchises are so out of touch with their original demographic.
Yeah.
And
which is so interesting because, like, my wife loves Star Wars. Like, she loves Star Wars. And she always said, she was like, growing up, there was no Star Wars for girls. She was like, that's why Ahsoka was such a big deal. It was like finally a cool female Star Wars character.
Amen.
And I think that they saw that and were like, sweet, we need more strong women in Star Wars, which I agreed with at the time. Like, yeah. But then the result of that was Rey Skywalker, who is one of the most poorly and inconsistently written characters we've ever seen from Disney. And so, like, this is so interesting because it's like, and now she hates Star Wars sequels.
I do too.
And so and I do too. And so it's so hard because we're like, I think what's so hard is Disney's like, no, but this is what you wanted. I thought this is what you wanted. And they're so confused because they don't get it. They don't get why we wanted what we wanted. They just said, oh, you need strong women. This is a strong woman. And it was like, Yeah, but she also has to be written like a good character. Like, do you
I
not
also
get
think
it?
the problem that Disney runs into is they're so metric focused that they can't fathom the fact that Star Wars was already for everyone before they bought it.
Yeah.
Like, Star Wars was not an exclusively like white male like
Right.
franchise before they bought it. Like, it was
Yeah.
something that everyone universally enjoyed. Did it skew more towards the male demographic? Yes, because that's like Luke Skywalker is your main character, Anakin is your main character. Like, yeah, that's kind of
Right.
how it was going to skew because that's like the original intended audience. But I think they get lost in analytics because they think if it's made for this audience that no one else can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And when you try to appeal to everyone, you actually end up appealing to no one. Because, like, who is Star Wars for now?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, who is Star
Yeah.
Wars for right now? Because it's not for the, you know, the masculine male, because they emasculate every single male character. Look what they did to Luke Skywalker. Look what they did to Han Solo. Like, same thing in Indiana Jones. Like, look what they did to Indiana Jones. Like, so it's clearly not for that audience. And I don't think women like the female characters because it feels like they're being looked down on because they're not making good female characters. Like,
Yeah.
Rey is not, like, say what you want about the sequels, but Rey is not a well-written character because she kind of just gets handed everything. Like, she doesn't have
Yeah.
the same struggles and things that she goes through. Like, compare Rey to, like, Rumi from K-pop, right?
Yeah.
Like, Rumi had actual character flaws and things she
Yeah.
had to work through. And Rey, I mean, yeah, she had flaws, but, like, she didn't have to work through them in the same way
But
that
they were
even
wrapped
characters
up in
like
within the hour.
right, like they were not fully explored.
Yeah.
And I mean, even compare her to like Ahsoka, right? Like
Yeah.
Ahsoka is this incredible character who, over the course of the Clone Wars and Rebels and her own show, like, is still going through all this stuff. And I think they're overutilizing Ahsoka because she's the last good female character
Yeah.
that they wrote. So, like, who is Star Wars for? And I think
And it's
the pinnacle of that is the Acolyte.
yeah.
And you look at the people who are upset about the Acolyte, that marginalized group of people, that's who they're trying to cater to. Is this like
Yeah.
10, 15% when, you know, the 90, 85 does not care about what they were trying to do with the Acolyte.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is so interesting because, like, the point is not, well, Star Wars should be just for men. That's not the point at all. The point is something that actually goes back to, like, PR and marketing principles from day one, which is, like you said, when you try to market to everyone, you're marketing to no one. And so it's so incredibly bizarre and incredibly ironic to say they're so out of touch, to be like, well, why can't we get Gen Z men to like Disney stuff? Why doesn't Gen Z men like Star Wars now? And I'm like, hey, the only thing you've done for these, like, developmental years of Gen Z men was show us how much you hate men, how stupid and lazy they are, and how useless they are, and how women are better. But then don't actually show us that women are better. Just saying women are better. Yes, Rey Skywalker is an independent, strong woman, and she needs to beat up whiny Kylo Ren. But Rey is not actually... Her entire character is a strong woman. There is no actual, like, depth to that. I'm being told she is strong. I'm being told she's the chosen one. And she is the big strong woman that has to fight the whiny villain of Kylo Ren. And he's just, has temper tantrums and anger. Why don't men want that? Well, because I don't think you like me. I don't think that you appreciate me. I don't think that you believe in me at all. Where, like, if you go back to even some of the earlier Disney, like you said, like Pirates of the Caribbean, like Elizabeth Swann, incredible character. Like, we're not mad that she's a strong woman. No one cares because she's a great character. But also, like, Jack Sparrow, awesome character. Will Turner, awesome character. Like, we have all these other characters where, like, Jack Sparrow's not a good example. He is not a good example of, like, he's not a good dude. He's a drunkard pirate. Like, that's bad. But also you have Will Turner, who's like super honorable, and he's like fighting for his love and fighting for his family. And we can look at that and be like, heck yeah, I like that. And then the girls can look at Elizabeth Swann and be like, heck yeah, she's fighting for her family too, and they're fighting for each other. And then we can all come together over, oh, they're fighting for each other. That's awesome. We can bond on that. We can come together on that. Where it's like, what's there to group together on right now? What are we coming together over? We're coming together over how much we hate people. We're coming together on how stupid the Acolyte is. We're coming together on how much we despise the live-action Snow White. And what's happening is we're coming together in the negative. And we're coming together to say, oh, let's move on. Let's get out of here. We don't want to watch this anymore. Let's find something else. Because here's the thing. In 2025, there's always something else. There is always something better that I could go find, and it's probably on YouTube for free. And so Disney, 100 years later, doesn't know how to keep up in that climate.
Amen. Wow, that was good. You cooked right there, dude. I don't even know if I have anything else to add. That was incredible. And I think you summarized all of the major issues there. And I mean, is there any way to course correct? Or is it too late? Because if you look, they've got that new Star Wars, I think, Starfighter movie with Ryan Gosling as the lead.
Which looks this is how you bring Gen Z men. Gen Z men love no one more than Ryan Gosling. Let me tell you.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see, if they do start to pivot back or if it's just too late. And something I want to bring up is, I think Disney's company reputation is gone.
It's gone. It's over.
I don't think all of the goodwill they had over the last 100 years gone, eviscerated.
Yeah, we've never seen corporate suicide at this level.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at all this stuff with the parks and the movies and all this stuff, and I'm like, I've never watched a brand commit suicide more so than this company right now. Because every decision they make is so out of touch with what they're actually trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think Bob Iger is really to blame for that, which is so interesting because when he came back in 2022, we all were like, "Oh my gosh, Bob Iger's back.
He's going to
be great. He's going to save us." But I think Bob Iger has lived long enough as the Disney CEO to see himself become the villain.
Yep.
I think
it's like the freaking Megamind scene where he's like, "Thank you for saving us." He said, "Oh, I wouldn't say saving. I would say under new management."
Yeah. So I think he's not great, and they're already trying to find his successor because his term was supposed to end this year, but I think he upped it for another 2 or 3.
Because no one wants that heat.
Disney desperately needs new leadership across the board.
Yeah. Let's start over.
The parks people needs new, the movies need new people, and just all of upper management needs new people. Bro, I've been dying for them to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy for years.
For real.
For years. Put Jon Favreau in charge, please. He actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's would you even say that do you think the solution is our generation is gone? Gen Z, do you think they just completely don't trust anymore? Do you think there's hope for them? If they can course correct in the next 5 years, do you think the next generation could potentially be won over?
That's so hard because if they lose the trust of Gen Z, we're not going to show our kids anything of their new stuff.
Yeah.
And we're it's going to all be predicated on
so maybe my
stuff.
Grandchildren will Disney again.
Maybe.
But
I think it's going to take a lot to turn pendulum swing back.
Yeah.
And what I think is so cool, on the flip side, is Disney kind of fumbling the bag here has opened the door to getting all kinds of new stuff. K-pop Demon Hunters, The Bad Guys, Despicable Me. It's opened this door and kind of given a space
for
new stuff,
innovative stuff, because Disney's not the innovators anymore.
Right. They're not pushing the boundaries of animation, and they're not pushing the boundaries of storytelling anymore. So I think it, in a positive way, has opened the door to say these other like animation studios and these other companies now have a foothold and a place to stand. Like even look at Universal with Epic Universe, right? Like Universal now, just by their own like positive word of mouth, and they have seen what Disney's done, I think, in the PR world and why people how people didn't eat that up, and they've toned back silently and not said anything, and they've seen, okay, Disney stepped here and that didn't work, so we're not going to step there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Universal's a perfect company who has like the best of morals and the best of intentions all the time, but I'm just saying from a PR perspective, they now have a marketable area to stand and actually take over Disney as one of the top tourism spots in Florida.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested to see how this all plays out in the next like 5 years.
Yeah.
And see if this long-term parks plan is going to work out for them, if that's something they're going to want to do.
Yeah.
If they like Universal just bodies them with Epic Universe continually, is, you know, Illumination going to smack down Hoppers next year with the new Mario movie in April? Like, so I'm just so curious to see where all of that goes. And I want to end with this question.
Yeah.
And I want to get your thoughts on this. Is Disney truly in decline, or is this just a rough transitional period before some kind of reinvention or reinvigoration?
I would say I hope that it is just rough transitional. And I really want it to be just a rough transitional. But I don't see that as the truth. I think if we are continuing in the downward spiral that we've been in for the last few years, I could potentially see the Disney monopoly redispersing. And I think it'd be interesting to see if they're just not cooking. The problem is, for that to happen, they would have to get really low financially, and that's probably not going to happen given their still billion-dollar box offices. Their just creative integrity is in the toilet. So it's like, if we see Marvel in 5-10 years dispersing from the Disney IP, well, guess what? Marvel gets fully reinvented, and it could be amazing. Or, you know, at some point, ESPN leaves, and then, you know, Pixar's like, screw this, we're done dealing with you, and they start their own thing. Or maybe we get enough of the good Disney employees that say, I don't like what you're doing, I'm going to go do it myself. I would not be surprised if we see a revolution from Gen Z of new animation studios that will rival Disney. And we've already seen it, like Flow won the Oscar for Best Animated Movie. That movie was made on a dude's laptop in Blender. Like, Oscar-winning movie. Did I watch it? Yeah. Did I like it? Not really. But it was so different, and it beat the big studio. So I would say this is kind of where I'm at. I think Disney is truly in the decline, and I think that they will be forced into reinvention from that decline that will hopefully humble them at the knees. And I hope that if that can disperse, then they can focus on what they're actually good at instead of being a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate and trying to manage 25 different things at the same time. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's fair. I really agree with that. Mm-hmm. For me personally, it's hard because obviously I grew up going to Disney. Disney movies were my go-to, so it's been really hard. And very conflicting as a Disney fan, because it's frustrating because I know they can do better.
Yeah.
I've seen they're better, and I know you can do better in the parks, in the movies, in the shows. I know you can do better, and you're choosing not to. And that's what I think is frustrating to me. Is it's just
true.
So tone deaf, and they don't listen to people anymore. And they kind of just march to the beat of their own drum. But if you think of like Nintendo marches to the beat of their own drum, but they actually like do listen to people sometimes. But they also know who they are as a company. Like they know what their company is. And I think Disney has their hands in too many different pots. There's too many cooks in the kitchen trying to do too many different things.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to make sure Star Wars appeals to men. You're trying to make Marvel appeal to men. You're trying to bring back Pirates of the Caribbean, but you don't know what to do because you can't really like. You want to bring Johnny Depp back, but maybe he doesn't want to come back, and you're like losing your brand identity because you've hired all of these like liberal people at Pixar who want to do this, but you know that's not what's going to sell, but you can't fire them because you hired them on that principle, and you're trying to figure out where the heck Disney animation is going to go. You're trying to bring in a bunch of different live action remakes. So it's just like there's so much going on that I kind of want them to crash and burn a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like the only way for this company to get saved and reinvent themselves properly is to actually hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Does that look like them going bankrupt and going out of business? I don't think so. But I think what it does look like is not a single Disney movie gets nominated for the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like, they start losing out on Oscar nominations. I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters and Demon Slayer Infinity Castle are both in talks for Best Animated Picture nominees at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Which would have been unheard of 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Would have been unheard of 10 years ago. Half of that category was Pixar.
Yep.
So I think they have to get, and I don't think we're going to see any of the ramifications of this for about 5 years.
Yep.
Because they have to get everything in the current lineup out the door. Because it's already in production. It's already being made. And they're too far gone to just start canceling stuff because it'd be a terrible return on investment. And who knows, maybe there's some tweaks they can make, like with Inside Out 2, where they can salvage the movie and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But then you are going to have a bunch more LEOs. You are going to have projects that are too far gone or were greenlit in an era where that was
what you thought you wanted.
Like socially okay, and now it's not. And it's socially not going to be okay for the next 3 years. Like, let's be so real. The cultural climate is changing and will continue to change in the opposite direction for the foreseeable future. Yeah. So I think all of these projects are going to start hitting walls and they're going to start failing. And that's where they're going to be like, okay, we need to reevaluate. And I really hope, my hope and my prayer is that they get someone who understands where the company needs to go as the next CEO. Yeah. Someone who grew up on Disney, someone like us. Not saying like a Gen Z, because I don't think they would ever put a CEO under the age of 40 in that position. And they should. Because also, I don't think they have the business experience to run a company that big.
No.
But I want them to get someone who understands the fundamentals of what this company was supposed to be and the fundamentals and the core values that Walt founded this company on. Say what you will about Walt Disney, all right? Maybe he was a Nazi. I don't know. But here's the thing. All of that aside, he was a genuinely creative person who was always pushing the boundaries, who saw the holes and the flaws in the amusement park industry and the movie industry and took that and said, we can do better. And then he sure did do better. So much so that 100 years later, we are sitting here talking on a podcast about why we want this company to be better.
Yep.
So don't sit here and tell me that they can't do better, because they can and they should. They should want to do better. So stop letting the shareholders tell you what to do and actually make good stuff. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thank you. Good night.
Bam.
Jeez.
Drop mic, but I can't because it's attached to my arm.
Booyah. All right. Well, I think that's what we got. That's what we have. How long ago was our last Disney downfall?
Like it was March of 2023.
Okay.
So we'll be back in 2 years to reevaluate.
2027 we'll let you know how we're doing. Okay, guys. Well, We want to know what you think. We've been yapping for a while. Please, if you're on YouTube or Spotify or anywhere else you can drop a comment, please drop a comment down below. We'd love to know what you think on the Disney downfall. We'll be back in about 2 years to let you know how it's going. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if so, please leave us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you are listening, and subscribe on YouTube. And if you want to watch video versions of our wonderful faces, please watch on YouTube, subscribe. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, we appreciate you so much, and we will see you in the next episode. But until then, bye.